What is happening, guys? Welcome back to Redbridge Garage. And a couple of weeks ago we did the Coleman CT200U Ultimate mini bike build, and today we have a 105cc mini bike from Amazon, and we got every part that we could find. So we're going to do the ultimate build on a 105cc chassis, and then we're going to do some performance builds after this video and then turn it into an all-out drag bike. So let's jump right into it, show you all the parts we got, and turn this into the ultimate 105cc mini bike. First part is the front suspension kit. This comes with everything you need to upgrade to a softer ride, which is much needed on this bike. It includes some ape hanger handlebars and a stainless number plate. The next part is a diamond stitch seat and the Springer seat mount. This will help out a ton because this bike does not have rear suspension, so this should help out on rough terrain. We're going to be adding a rear rack on this build. This will be nice if you're using the bike at swap meets or in pits at races. This will give us a little space for carrying some extra cargo. I hate gas tanks mounted on the engine, so we got this frame mounted stainless steel gas tank. This will hold 1.1 liters of gas. You can get two different models depending on if you're going to run a CVT on a 212 or something later. This fits the frame real nice and is easy to fill. For the performance, we picked up the carb kit that comes with an air filter adapter, upgraded jet, and a valve cover vent filter. This gives us a little boost in power and makes the engine look a little bit cleaner. The last part is a stainless steel straight pipe exhaust. This will add a lot of sound and pair nicely with that carb performance kit. So now let's start disassembling all the stock parts off this bike so we can get to building it. To install the front forks, use the included bolt and thick washer on top of the top clamp, followed by a small washer. Slide it into the frame, and then you can slide another small washer on the bottom side. Make sure the steering stop posts are facing up and install the lower clamp, then a thick washer and the lock nut, and tighten. Slide in the forks and line up the notch on the forks with the bolt clamp. You may need to use some pry bars to separate the clamps to allow the forks to slide in freely. Install the included clamp bolts and tighten down. This kit comes with two different fender mounts for different bike models. These install on the bottom side of the lower clamp with the lower number plate mount. Use the included fork adapter sleeves to slide in the axle bolt. Included are two different sets of wheel spacers for the different bike models. We will use the longer spacers on the Oryx Earth bike. Install the last fork adapter sleeve and tighten up the axle nut. Next, I'm going to install the handlebars. Then the upper number plate mounts can install on top of the handlebar mounts. I have to drill 2 holes in my stock fender to mount it with the new fork set. On this upper bolt, you're gonna have to put the nut on some pliers. I'm using different nuts and bolts than they gave some stainless hardware. I got it the first time before the camera came out. But we're gonna grab that son of a gun, so we can tighten it. Then we can put a wrench back there and hold it. It was just there was not enough room for your fingers to go in there. And the number plate is installed. Of course, links are in our description for these washers. The cup washers we used to use, I don't think the guy's in business right now. It says if you go on killerbolts.com that website's down and getting rebuilt, but I don't know if they was selling too well, because I know I'd talked to him before and that's what he said. So I don't know, we'll try to get in touch with him and see, you know, what the dealio is. So with the gas tank, you're going to slide it down into the frame like this so you can clear the valve cover. And we're going to slide it up, and then you just thread on the plate. It comes with 2 different size bolts. One are stainless bolts that are a little shorter. That's what I'm using. And then the other are longer, but they're zinc coated bolts. So we get it right in place right there. And then we can use a 6mm Allen and tighten it up. And the gas tank's that easy. You put the petcock in. I pointed the petcock straight back. Do like it. So one problem is, just like on the other bike, we can't run our cables down low like this. Same thing we had to do with the Coleman. We can just cut these zip ties. Remember, don't cut towards you, cut towards a friend. I heard that saying the other day. Thought it was pretty nice, oh it did. And now with our extra length, there's still zip tie? Ooh no, the throttle comes up. Let's see if I can get it. Oh yeah, that's it. Okay. I think once we get it on, we'll be fine, yeah. We can just zip tie the stuff. Now our brake can reach, because we're going to start off here, and then we'll have enough space for it to go and zip tie the top of the frame. It does come with a grip because it knows you're going to have to cut it off. Only downside is it doesn't match, but that's just part of it. You can use hairspray on this, and hairspray will help to let it slide on, and then it'll dry as a glue, as a light adhesive. This one's pretty hard. You can do this with air. This is a pretty hard, almost plastic rubber tie. There we go. It's all the way in. So since we're installing the rack as well as the Springer seat, the rack is supported off the seat mounts. So there is threads, a welded on nut on the inside. So I went and got longer bolts. It didn't come with any, but you're definitely going to need them if you're running both the rack and the Springer seat. So I'm going to start this longer 6mm bolt. This is an M6. Now what these long bolts are going to do is give us basically studs sticking out for the Springer mount. So this hooks onto the frame, slides on like that, and then we can use a 6mm nut, and I'm going to use a washer, and we can bolt this, and this is going to keep this in place. So again, we're putting a washer and a nut. These did not come with the kit. This is stuff out of my bolt bin. Now we have this, and I think this hooks on the original plate that the seat would hook on and sets like this. So it does come with some spacers. I'm assuming that the spacers go in between this plate and this plate. This plate is going to sandwich on the bottom side of the frame. So I would think we drop this bolt here, we go up through there, and then we put the mount with the skinnier, see how it's angled? One side's longer than this side. The shorter side goes forward. Just slide that all on. Now I'm going to switch these. It does come with these self-locking nuts. I'm not a huge fan of them. They're better than nothing. So we're going to put our other spacer in there. Lock that puppy down. Okay. We did have this springer set up on the front side of this bracket. Well, then I looked at the pictures and it hooks underneath and goes on the back side of the bracket, if you can see. But I still put the longer bolt in it and put nuts on it as well, because I don't trust those tack welded nuts that's on the frame. So now this is mounted. We have the front mount mounted, but before we mount the seat plate, we got to get the seat mounted to it. So what they say to do is cut these off as well as these little ears, because we're going to screw this to the plate, then bolt the plate on with 2 bolts up here. Now it does come with everything you need, but I'd highly recommend replacing the nuts that they send with nylon lock nuts, because you do have to have these tight, but not so tight where the seat can't move freely. So the problem with the nuts they send you is they'll work loose over time. And then once this is mounted, the last thing we have to do is we're going to need to replace the axle bolt with the longer one that was included with this rack and put on the rear supports. And we got an easy way to do that. And then we just have to throw on the new carburetor that's been performance jetted. I believe it's performance jetted. I'm assuming it is. And put the header on. So I'm going to get my oscillating tool right here and get me some safety goggles, and we're going to cut those tabs off the seat. We're just going to line this up wherever the bend fits, and it comes with a bunch of Phillips head screws that we can put in this. Okay, no problems, and we can put our bolts and nuts on. There we go. Okay, so you can still raise it up, which is real cool. So how we're going to do this axle bolt is, good nuts, that was tight. Alright, we're just going to take the nut off. Then our kit comes with these spacers, these steel black spacers, and a longer axle bolt. So this is how we're going to do this without having to disassemble everything. We're going to take our bolt, grab our new supports, slide the bolt in the support, then this, and then as we push this bolt through, sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Almost. So we didn't have to drop everything down. Now we do our spacer. Our support. I'm going to take our support bolts, put those in, put our axle nut on, here we go. Everything spins, and now we can just tighten up these up here with a 10. They have those same nuts that you don't need a wrench on. And there we go. Rear rack installed. Now this will look 1,000 times better once we stretch this 8 inches. We have the plates to stretch it 8 inches, and then we'll just move this bar back. But on a drag build, we are going to get rid of this rack when we do the drag portion, because we don't want any weight that we don't need. We'll also be removing the Springer seat, putting the original seat back on. But again, that's when we get to the drag build, because we want this thing to be light as possible. I think I'm gonna leave this front forks, but I may put these stock ones back on it. But I don't know, I think I would want that little bit of suspension. I just wish this was a little different. I just don't like that you have that much suspension. It's enough to take out tiny little bumps. You would never off-road this mini bike, in my opinion. Okay, now we gotta pull these studs off because our new header comes with bolts and washers. So we'll pull these studs off, get our exhaust on, then we can move on to our carb, or we can do our carb first too. Doesn't really matter. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this stock carb. Again, I'm pretty sure the way this kit is, we'll pop this out, pop our spring, and we can slide our carb off. And we're gonna reuse, first off, we need to pop out the carb, get the spring unhooked. This is our little throttle arm. Set that old carb aside. And again, I'm hoping that this new one is already jetted. So we're gonna hook that spring, get this bar seated down in there. Now we have our throttle assembly. We're gonna set that aside because we gotta take these studs out because we have longer studs that came with the kit to compensate for the air filter adapter. So we're gonna remove one and automatically replace it. We're gonna back two nuts together. Then we use the inside nut to spin that stud. We didn't get tight enough. Okay, there we go, you can hear it. Okay, so you can see the height difference between the two. And that's because our new aluminum air filter adapter is longer. Get these swapped out, and then we can slide our new carb on, get the throttle hooked up, put our air filter on. Okay, we got our gasket on. This is our new carburetor. Okay, we got that. This is still going to be a governor engine. Everything's hooking up exactly the same. I'm even reusing the old gaskets. Just make sure you put them on correctly, like so. Now we have our air filter adapter. Again, making sure it's orientated the right way. Is that the right way? And it is. Now the kit came with two nuts. Those are too big. There they are. These are 8 mils. Okay. I hope we have enough room for this air filter because of this rear fender. It doesn't look like it. May have to end up getting a different. Yeah, no, maybe, please. Oh, that's sick. It's like freaking little tractor. Look at it, we still have a choke lever. Oh, crud muffin. Okay, yep, it barely clears that air filter, but that's a tight fit. Make sure our throttle still works. Yep. We do have to still run our gas line from here over to here. I'm really hoping gravity will feed it. It looks like it's right at the limit where gravity should still feed the carb. And I'm also hoping this carb did come with an extra jet pilot as well as main jet. So I'm hoping it already has an upgraded version in it, but we do have these extra ones just in case we need it. So now we can go on to removing the exhaust studs because we got to use bolts. Same thing, thread on. Oh, these are the bigger studs. Okay, okay. Not tight enough. There we go. You can hear that pop. gonna remove these again. We got new nuts or bolts, sorry, for this instead of having these studs in the block. Has two different bolt holes. See it? So you can have two different styles of exhaust, I guess. Drawer. Alright. And it stripped it. Okay, that's stripped, so fine. There we go. And that's trash. Not need that where we're going. Okay, so now we do need to scrape that high. We can leave that gasket. So like that. So it is going to use the second set of bolts to tilt it up like that. Pretty cool being tucked in there like that. We have a gasket, lock washers, some Allens. Is it in the frame? Alright, so I'm gonna need a swivel. This is where a swivel headed Allen, the little ball, will let you go in there at an angle and get her tightened up. Then we can hand crank it the rest. Okay, there's our exhaust. It just clears the frame, and it seems like it'll kick it right out. That's real cool. All right, now we just hooked up the gas. It does come with a little gas line that we can use in a couple little hose clamps. Okay, the clamps they gave us are not for this size. Cool. Amazon silver. I mean, that's a pretty dang tight fit. Don't you do this at home, folks, at home. And fuel filters do go a certain direction. There's normally an arrow on it, but you want it to look just like this because you want the fuel to go on the outside, from the tank to go on the outside of the filter so you can see the dirt. If you had it flipped the other way around, the dirt would be going inside the filter and you'd never be able to tell when it's actually clogged up. Do you understand? There's this little squeezer. Oh crap, went too far. Okay, now the fuel's already on. Now we can throw gas in it and it is done, correct? Looking over all of our leftover parts to make sure. We do have a set of 6 billet wheels for the next build. Like when we do the drag build, we're putting 8-inch billet wheels on it. It might even be 10-inch actually. We got a really sick build for this thing. It's gonna be stretched. It's gonna be. Okay, so, oh yeah, one last thing. They do give you this little breather. This is for your valve cover. You don't necessarily need a breather on it. This just helps dirt not to get inside of it because the valve cover does have a check valve built in that only lets air out, not in. So we're going to shove that hose in there. And it's, you know, it's biting rubber to rubber, but that can be zip tied or something out of the way. You want to put it right there. You want to put it up on the frame. You know what I'm saying? I wonder if a billet valve cover would work on that. It looks like the same size. That'd be cool. Put a little billet valve cover on that hog. So they do make, for these 105s, they do make a billet flywheel. ARC does. And they did it because people was putting the 79cc Predators, which I don't even know if Harbor Freight still sells those, but people was putting those on bicycles. And because you can fit them on such small frames and get a motorized bike out of it. Well, so ARC didn't want someone getting a chunk taken out of their leg, so they made a billet flywheel for them. That's why it got that little bit of support, but never really saw anything else. So you can get a billet flywheel, but other than that, you can't get a billet rod for them or anything else. So just letting you know, there are a couple little things out there on the market. I think those cables are good. Yeah. I wish I could get one more cable, but this tank fits so tight, I literally can't even fit a zip tie through there, but it'll hold up fine. All right, we got this hog gassed up. Come on, baby. She's a race bike, so. Woo! Does the Springer seat actually spring with me on it? Or is the needle just bonk? What's happening back there?
It's springing.
It's springing?
Yeah.
So I will say, this front suspension has like, I don't know, 1.5 inches travel, but it actually works pretty dang good. And the carb seems to be jetted properly. I was worried about that. Alright. Come on, baby. Come on. These 105s are just little pigs. Woo! I will tell you, that suspension's working though. That's pretty nice. Let's go. Let's go. I'm pushing it on. Come on, baby. Up to speed a little faster than it did before. I mean, is she still 105cc pig? Sure. This would be really fun for a little kid. You like it? You like what you see? Mama like what you see? There we go. Once she starts pulling, it does pretty good. So of course I would recommend this thing for like a starter bike, of course. But the exhaust is nice because it's completely tucked out of the way. Like it's not a problem whatsoever. A lot of mini bikes I can't say that. Let's go. Let's go, baby. The suspension is legit. The suspension is legit. Like it feels really good for what it is. I want to put a CVT on this 105, and I think that would make this actually like a good bike the way it is. So that'll be in the performance video. We gotta get one ordered. I'm gonna go across the field, see if I can top it out. That's smooth. I'm surprised. Alright, let's go, baby. Oh, I ran through a bunch of water. More like a push scooter. But it seriously works pretty dang good. I would say all these parts made a big difference. For real, for real. Becca's growing some, looks like tall alfalfa.
One right here.
She said there's tomato plants.
With the yellow flowers on it.
Well, let's pull this.
I tried, I couldn't get it.
Woo, look at that.
That's a root.
That's rutabagas. I don't know.
See
Yeah.
the tomatoes?
I do think if you're an adult, this engine setup is not going to cut it unless you put a CVT. So I think the next episode, we need to put a CVT on it. We'll put the little round slide carburetor, a different exhaust, and I think it'll be an actual good bike. And then after that, we can do the 212 swap, and it'll be dangerous after that. So yeah. All right, so we got the Oryx Earth little 105 fully modded out, and I'm honestly surprised at how good the suspension works. Between the seat and the front forks, the bike is 1,000 times better. I didn't think the forks having that little travel and me being as big as a mini bike would actually work, but it worked flawless because the way your weight sits on that bike, you do have to choke up on the front end. If you had any more horsepower right now, it's perfectly fine. But I did order a CVT. I'm going to show you how to put a CVT on one of these 5/8 crankshaft engines. And we're going to put the little round slide carb and a trumpet exhaust in the next episode and see how much more performance, and we'll be removing the governor. Now, I don't recommend that, of course, because of the flywheel, but we're linking everything that we have used and what we're going to use on the bike in the video's description. So those links also help us out. So make sure to check it out. But this bike is actually sick. I can't wait. I got the 8-inch extensions for it. And after the next video, we're going to do a 212, put the 8-inch extensions, and then we're going to make it into a full all-out drag bike. So let us know what you want to see with this thing. We're going to try to make it the fastest little bike we built. And the best thing about it is a lot of companies are selling these small mini bikes. This thing's a way better deal than anything I think there is on the market, because you can buy this bike brand new for $400. Probably used, you could find it for $200, I would imagine. And you can't really beat that. The thing weighs nothing. The frame is built really well, and we're excited to make a drag bike out of it. So stay tuned for that. Let us know if you want to see us do anything in particular to this mini bike, and we'll be reading your comments. Thank you guys so much for checking this out. I know the 105 stuff is a little boring because it's a 105, but we wanted to do these steps just in case someone had these bikes and they want to build it up. That's why we did the videos in this way. So thank you guys so much for watching. We love you, and God bless.